Okay, so I'm back. I got more Diet Coke, but I did eat some froyo from Publix. All right. We just talked to these guys, I think. Yeah. Okay. And I think we're supposed to go this way. Yeah. Blood Orb of Cthon, huh? Legendary Offhand. Alright. Empowered Bone Shard Lacerator. I do want to point out, right, technically speaking, I don't think there's any reason why we couldn't use a two-handed weapon. And just for... I had this idea the other day. Like, just for the funny, we'll go ahead and use a two-handed weapon for a sec. Not for very long, since that's not this, character's thing, but... I do kind of want to show off that... Here we go. Yeah, like, our guy is just not spec'd to survive melee combat, really. But the bonk hammer does work, as you can see. Yeah, I mean, it does work, but again, our guy just... Our boy here, One Button Man, is not built for, CQC. He can't really do the close quarters, combat, but also he can't do the close quarters, like... consistency, like both aspects of the C in that. Like, it's not just the combat, it's that he doesn't have like the defense and shit stuff, like, shield. Yeah, I was totally gonna say shields. Like, he doesn't have a shield. That's totally the word I was gonna use. I blame the froyo. but yeah, he doesn't have like a shield, nor does he have, I think, yeah, like I don't have field command. That is another good thing to point out. Ah, man, I definitely should get that though. I don't know if squad tactics applies to yourself, though. I guess I can look that up. Hold on. Okay, so squad tactics does apply to the self. I guess I need to invest into that too. I need to at least get this because I don't really care about field command because, again, we're not going into we're not going to be investing in defense really, but getting this up, I don't know how I missed that. Yeah, like, I definitely need that. I feel a bit dim for that. But the point is that we won't be investing in, like, the defensive side of things. We're just going full offense. So, to try to, like, get into the thick of it with a two-handed weapon would be... I mean, they call them glass cannons for a reason, right? And this is definitely a glass cannon build. I mean, I know I invested some into defense, but that's like the minimum to not get completely ruined whenever things go a little bit sideways. So this is sort of where we get into the new enemies, like possessed armors. Now you'll notice that the enemy types, there's undead, but there's also eldritch. Like a lot of eldritch and insectoid. I'm not really sure how many classes have stuff that pertain to like bonuses against eldritch. I know there's some stuff against undead. I think. But no, not undead. Ethereals and Chthonians like a minimum. We saw that on the Arcanist's skill tree. I think there's stuff against undead in like the Oathkeeper build, but wow, that mummy is still interred. Alright, well, we'll let him be a turd who is interred, in peace. Now, nothing that we've seen so far, I think, is in the same category of threatening as what I'm dreading seeing. There's an enemy in this area that I remember very fondly. Yeah, we'll just say fondly. That is probably going to ruin my experience of this game for a little bit until I figure out how to deal with it. I remember some kind of weird enemy that just bum rushes you with a bunch of like AoE magic. I could be wrong about it showing up here, but I think it's like a kind of these guys. It might in fact be these guys and I'm just, like, better equipped. And not really, under as much threat. Since we have maxed out elemental defense and it looks like these guys are just doing, like, fire and whatever attacks. Well, that looks like a suspicious chest. Corvin Secrets, huh? Okay. Celestial essence. The essence of reality, of existence itself. Okay. We got some reality goo. Alright. I'm down for the reality goo. The sting. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah. Yep. Have you ever seen the movie, crap, is it The Scorpion King? The one that had, The Rock in it. It's either The Scorpion King or The Mummy. It might be both. You'll know what I'm talking about. It's like the scene from that movie. The one particular scene with the bugs. But I think in that movie it was scarabs. And it wasn't like a sting, they just kind of showed up and murdered a guy. Which is odd, because if I'm not mistaken, scarabs are like just dung beetles, so I'm not sure why they'd kill a guy, but whatever. There is something very, like, I'm gonna be real, that's one of the things in a game that I respect, like, a lot, is whenever... So if you've ever played something like, and I know this is a weird pull, but I promise it'll make sense, like Kirby's Dream Land 3, That game had a lot of, there's like a moving wall that you have. It's a side-scroller game if you've never played it, but like, where there's a moving wall, and if you get caught up by the wall on, like, level geometry, it kills you, like, almost like a hydraulic press, even though there's not really any reason why it would do that. You know, I like any time a video game is doing something like that, where there's a threat that, like, you have to escape from, and the threat is like, and I forget, maybe it was Dishonored. I've never actually played that game myself. I watched a Let's Play of it, but maybe it was some, I'm forgetting what exactly game I'm thinking of, where, like, it's like a bunch of rats come out of nowhere, and it's like you have to escape from rats or something like that. Like, I appreciate whenever the threat is something like that, and in that movie, whichever one it was, The Mummy or The Scorpion King, whichever one, with the killer scarabs, like, I appreciate that a lot whenever the threat is like, no, really though, you cannot fight this. Like, there's no way you can fight a teeming mass of insects, right? Like, if it was just some weird monster, you could at least convince yourself that you could throw like a chair leg at it or something, but if it's a mass, like an innumerable teeming horde, like a tide of individual small things that are going to rip you asunder, it's like, you know, like land piranhas. It's like, yeah, that's a completely different concept altogether. You need like several flamethrowers to deal with that. Like, you can't just deal with that with a gun, you know? Like, that makes sense that you have to run from something like that. I don't know. I just appreciate that whenever something is made into a, like something that you can't confront, like a threat that you must avoid, that it actually makes sense, you know? I don't like it whenever it's something like, again, to harken back to Kirby, and this is why it makes sense, just for no reason you can't, like, for no reason the level geometry will kill you, because, I don't know, I guess, if you're late, like, if you're not, if you don't finish the area in a timely manner, Kirby's gonna get fined or something? I don't know. Like, there's not really any explanation for that, and you could tell that whenever I was a kid playing that game, it really irked me. It still does. I feel like that's stuck with me. I don't like that in any game where that happens in. Even if it's, like, abstracted to, oh, we have to run away from the scary monster, like, you know, a good example of that is in Metro 2033. Whenever I played that game and I got to the part in the library and I met the librarians, I legit just killed them. Like, I didn't try to run away from them, or I just killed them. I just took out Molotovs and just killed the stupid things. It's like, no, this is just some weird ape thing, like a mutant gorilla. I'm just gonna kill the weird, ugly gorilla thing. I felt kind of bad about it, but you know, they kind of do the they're not really hostile, but they kind of are thing. I don't know. I've considered maybe trying to do a playthrough of Metro 2033 as well, but that game has at least one part of it that I really, really don't like. Like in Metro 2033, the part that I'm talking about is whenever you get ambushed in this, like, courtyard by these, and they're just normal dudes. I forget what exactly part of the story it is, but there's, like, this courtyard, and there's, like, the second story, like, ambush squad. And it's not clear where you're supposed to go, and they're just firing at you from all angles, and you can't really hit them, and it's just, And it really kind of takes away from the whole survival horror aspect when you're just dealing with a group of dudes. Like, come on. I don't know. Yeah, I think it was these guys, but I guess I just have good enough elemental defense that I don't really have to worry about them. I could be wrong, though. We're not actually in the temple yet. Which I remember is where, specifically, I started having difficulties whenever I first played through here. Okay, so... Alright, hold up. We gotta turn around. After we get rid of the local... Florida-accurate representation of mosquitoes. If you're not from Florida, let me tell you, they really are like that. I joke, but, like, I'm actually joking when I say that. I'm not joking whenever I say that there's these things called yellow flies on rivers. Like, if you ever get on a boat, in certain parts of Florida, they are that bad. And they hurt, unlike mosquitoes. I hate those stupid things. And they are, like, literally yellow flies. They're gross. I hate the stupid things. Anyway, this is where we're actually, trying to get to for the first, devotion shrine. Now, it looks like we're going to have to go north, then northeast. Just trying to keep that in my noggin, that we're gonna have to go like this way, looking at the map, and then over this way. That might have been the guys that I was... Yeah? I don't know, that didn't seem that bad. But that might have been what I was thinking of. Arcanus Arcane. You don't say. Oh, hello. Are you going to continue coming back? Is that the gimmick here? That would explain, like, my latent dislike of this area. It's lingering like a particularly oily fart. Yeah, that would explain it. If that's this area's shtick, then yeah. Yeah, that would explain why I had that dread, that sort of lingering feeling that I really wasn't gonna like this area. So far, so good, though. You know, I'm kind of glad, actually, that, what the... I was gonna say, I'm kind of glad, actually, that I forgot about this, because that means that's a whole lot of damage just waiting to be claimed, and attack speed. The attack speed is what we're really after on that. I don't know how, I have to imagine that I saw that and just, like, put it off for some dim reason. But I'm glad I did now. Okay. The whole, like... I know this is gonna sound weird, but I've been playing Mecha Bellum recently. I think I've mentioned it a couple times, and them spawning the maggots whenever they die, some of the mummies, kind of makes me think of how you can get this ability for the marksman unit in that game, where at the beginning of the round, they spawn these 4 things called, what are they called? They're not called fighters, but that's what I remember them as. They're like fangs. Like these 4 little dudes that are completely inconsequential, but they spawn like 4 of them. It makes me think of that. Like, okay. I'm not really doing AoE damage. Not in the strictest sense. I mean, the meteors kind of count, but, you know, they kind of don't. Like, the weapon attack isn't really doing AoE damage. So, I don't know, it's... And we have, like, the linear piercing thing with, Cadence. And some of the, on-attack trigger effects. Yeah, it just doesn't really feel like it's that threatening. Just kind of a weird... You know, because if we were doing AoE, these guys wouldn't be a problem. And we're not doing AoE, and they're still not a problem. I don't know. Okay. So is my hunch correct that these things are like just respawning infinitely, or? You know, I'm not exactly eager to stand around and test it, because if I'm right, then that's just a waste of time. And if I'm wrong, then it's still a waste of time. You know? Well, we've got an eclectic light show over here. Good thing we're just, like, generally elementally resistant in the extreme. I guess. I thought this might be something that I could crack open like a little vase, but I guess it's just a piece of that dude's shoulder or something. Yeah, like those urns that got just shot at. I thought it was something like that in the environment, but I guess not. I guess we're destroying Okaloth's Unchained. Question mark. I'm a little too full of froyo to be noticing fine details like which particular grisly, desiccated, floating corpse thing is named Okaloth's Unchained or not. Ah. Note that, and I just saw Okaloth's Unchained up there. Yeah, they don't really look any different. They hit harder, I think. But notice that they're level 71. Like, you come here at an early stage of the game, they will be leveled to you. I'm not sure what the level minimum is, if there even is one, but I know that you can come here, like, I think right after dealing with Warden Krieg. So there is no actual reason that you have to wait till the end of the game. It just thematically fits to do it. If you do go here early, though, you can get, obviously, more, devotion shrines and go through the main story with your character kind of powered up a bit, but I don't know. Not really sure if it's worth the trouble or not. All things considered. Oh, that guy has like a... Is that acid or is that just green magic? Guess it doesn't matter if you kill them fast enough. Which could be said for a lot of encounters, honestly, in every single video game that involves combat. Oh, hey! He's a supporter! Cool! I guess Korvac has a Patreon, I don't know. What a stupid joke. Okay. Yeah, that's her. That's the lady. That's the Bismiel lady. The story, as I remember it, behind why she's in Forgotten Gods is because people found her, like portrait, and she wasn't a character. That was just a lady that they made in that splash card for the loading screen for the Forgotten Gods stuff. And people found her so, like, enigmatic that they added her as a character in the Forgotten Gods DLC. That's how I remember it, anyway. Which is kind of cool. I hope they add the dude from, I don't know if he is in the Forgotten God stuff, but if he is, I hope they add the dude, like the shirtless dude, to the, to the Astrocard DLC, just for the consistency, you know? Like, to make it like a running gag that the character, like, splash screen for each DLC as the guy, like, has a main person in it for the next one. I think that'd be pretty rad. Just because it's such a weird, like, running gag. I don't know. I have a soft spot in my heart for goofy, gimmicks and, like, stupid, just goofy stuff in general, but, like, really goofy gimmicks really get me. If they're done well. I mean, honestly, even if they're done poorly, as long as they're funny. Alright, so here we need to go and hug the southern wall.
I can't do that yet.
Okay, so it looks like these guys aren't actually coming back. Yeah, so I don't know why that one at the entrance, like... Maybe I just didn't notice it or something. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I guess I was just caught off guard by one that I didn't notice. Whatever. How does that happen, by the way? Like, why would you make an archway only to brick it up? You know, because it's not like anything above it collapsed. That was an archway that existed, and then somebody came by and was like, you know, this passageway really needs a good mortar job, and just, like, bricked it up. Eh. Whatever. Oh, goodness. That was a heavy hit. Nothing too bad, though. I feel like it's a bad idea to open sarcophagi in any situation, but yeah, why not? I'm almost hoping that I open one of those and I'm proven correct that it's a bad idea to randomly open sarcophagi.
That skill's not ready.
I feel like you're proven, like, in most games where the opportunity presents itself to open a random sarcophagus or sarcophagi, that, like, yeah, it's something that ends up being a correct instinct, if you want to call it that it's a bad idea. Like, it more often than not ends up being something that has ruinous, or at least negative, consequences. Okay, so more of these guys. But we've eliminated enough of them already for the quest, so that's good. I see the thing on the map now, on the radar, that we're beelining for, instead of wasp-lining. I feel like wasp-lining is just beelining with more anger. Like, if you're gonna say you're, ant-lining towards something, it's because you're going there with intent. Like, with malicious intent, like intent full of malice. Okay, so... Alright. Alrighty. The shrine is corrupted and needs to be cleansed. Sure. That's a big beetle. Yo, that's a big beetle with a whole lot of damage over time. Not really anything relevant to One Button Man here. Here. Legendary shoulders, huh? It doesn't give me plus 29% physical damage, so I don't really care. What I do care about is our point. I care vastly more about 4% of attack damage being converted to health. That's big. Okay, so Corvin Oasis. Wow, alright. So that's after the Temple of Osir, huh? Okay. Nice. So we'll be getting the next one rather shortly. From how it looks on the map, anyway. So far, this hasn't been that bad. Kinda shocked. I guess I had really crappy elemental defense last time I was here. There's something, I don't know. Ugh. The enemies within enemies Matryoshka never stops, it seems. Why do I have like a yellow thing above my head? Okay, hold on. This is like... Ah, hello. Ramzul, High Priest of Osir, huh? What's with the lightning balls? I think this guy, like... I mean, hear me out, right? Like, this is kind of the end result of having too much of an affinity for those Tesla things from Hot Topic. Okay, I need to, there we go. Now I think I can finish this idiot. Oh! Wow. Cross counter. Mazan, the Keeper of Portals, huh? Yeah, cool. Well, you know... By the way, that's a perfect example of why, in competitive gaming, a tie means both people lose. You know? Oh, what's in the sarcophagus? Shrewd crest of shattered reality. So, nothing. Alright. Well, this opened up. The Temple City of Osir, huh? So we're just back out here. Fantastic. Well, we got what we went in there for. So that works, I guess. The bugs are back. That's not good. Okay, so looking at the map... Right, okay. I don't think we're like... No, we are. We're at that spot. Alita... Hold on. Oh. I'm being attacked. I meant to time the recording again, and I completely flubbed on that. I don't know how long it's been exactly. Probably gonna cut it here in a little bit. Just to be safe. So that I don't end up with like a 15 gigabyte recording or whatever. Oh, thank the three you got here just in time. Those things had us cornered. Listen, we're in no condition to continue, but we need to get out of here. Do you think you could help us? Where will you go? We need to get these supplies back to the Conclave, but there's no way we're going to make it out there. Do you have some way of getting us all out of here safely? Yeah. I could open a rift and send you there. Is that any safer, given what roams the Eldritch Realm? You know what? It doesn't matter. Do whatever you need to do whatever you need to, whatever it takes to get us out of here. Okay. Whatever. Now, if I remember right, that guy's brothers, by the way, that was me, like, trying to get way too much out of my head at once, so I had a car crash, where I was like, whatever I said, like, I remember that. Anyway, if I remember correctly, that guy's brothers are actually, like, across here. Like, they're shockingly far. Also, yes, we have to deal with griffins. This is where we end up dealing with, increasingly more novel enemies. At one point, there's a dinosaur. Like, a big, very fast dinosaur. But I don't know if I've done the stuff that you gotta do to spawn him or not. Factions. Beasts. Additional hero spawns. Nemesis. Yes, I don't think I have the Nemesis. Yeah, I think it's a Nemesis boss, like a thing that spawns only whenever you're at the most antipodal and antipathy, like, related, okay, I'll stop trying to be fancy. Whenever you're at the absolute most hated by the certain faction, and I think that faction is beasts. So, like, there's a giant, basically just a T-Rex that can hop, that can murder hop, that shows up whenever you, in a certain region, whenever you're at the most, whatever it's called, like, Nemesis. Yeah, I guess it is just called Nemesis, like, whenever you're at that. What is that effect? Oh, it shows up over there. I need to make sure I know what that effect is. It's not good to have a yellow skull over your head and not know why. Okay, we're going in the wrong direction. Startling as that is. Let me look here. So it shows on the map that back here, right here, there is a way off to the side. Apparently. That leads to a... Yes, okay. Here we go. This leads to a... I mean, you can see it on the map, the Devotion Shrine. Now, what we're going to have to deal with here, if anything... I guess nothing. We also get nothing other than the... other than the thing we came here for, which, fair enough. Now, this I'm not sure about. Like... Oh yeah, this is the reason why we have a ranged weapon. I forgot about that. That, you know, we did spec into the Hydra and that does take a ranged weapon. But I could have swore there's at least one other. Yeah. If this is the first on-attack thing we've gotten, that's dope. Yeah, we should actually keep that on... I guess I'll keep it on cadence. Alright. That's the bear, and next, if I remember right, we go to Ulzad. Like I said, thematically appropriate that he's the Herald of Korvac, given what we're doing. Just more loot. I'm not even sure why I'm collecting loot at this point, honestly, but hey. Whatever. It's kind of rad that we didn't actually have to fight anything for that. Not that I'd be complaining if we did, but, you know, it's nice sometimes to just get something for... Or rather, let me put that a different way. It's nice to get something with very little resistance from time to time. You know? Especially in a game where seemingly everything is maximally resisting you in any direction you walk. Now we get to the Corvin Plateau. Shame we can't shoot them from here. Look at them, a den of vipers. Oh, here we go. You gotta wonder what that would taste like. I mean, are they really just kind of like giant chickens? Like giant sky chickens? Like, can you imagine what fried griffin wing would look like? How big the grill you would need for that? Like for grilled grilled griffin wings, like you would need. I don't think they make Traegers that big. Or the skillet you'd need, like I said, for like a fried griffin wing. I'd try it. I'm not sure it would taste great, but I would try it. For some reason, I'm thinking they would taste like crap.
That skill's not ready.
I feel like it would be tough. Like, it would be tough meat. It wouldn't be something you'd actually want to eat. It'd be the kind of thing that people eat, like, pay a bunch of money to eat, and they say it's great, and then you try it, and it's actually like crap. It's just not really good at all. I feel like caviar is like that. I've never had caviar, but I feel like caviar must be like that. That by necessity must be a thing that people eat just because it's like a meme to eat it. Because I cannot imagine that tasting anything other than awful. I mean, it's like survival food, right? Like, why would you ever eat fish eggs? Okay. So far, so kind of good. I need to get down there just to complete the map. I like the cacti, by the way. Like, that's a good cactus. Like, that's really good cacti. I know that may sound like a stupid thing to point out, but... I mean, especially this. Like, specifically this. In my, like, it's not really my neighborhood, but in the town that I live in, there's this one, like, yard on a main street that has, like, these huge agave in it. And they finally bloomed one year, and it's like overnight they had something that looked exactly like this sprout like right up out of the middle of them, like 20 feet in the air. And it was the most bizarre crap. And they ended up, I guess half sad, half humorously, like, blowing over because of, like, I don't know how deep the root system of an agave is, but they, like, ended up turning sideways, almost like the thing caught the wind and was top heavy enough that it, like, turned the whole plant, like, 45 degrees. It was kind of goofy. Yeah, that's, like, actually how that looks. Like, whenever an agave, if I could find another one. Well, you saw it. I pointed it out. Yeah, like, right here. Yeah, like, that's actually how it looked. I mean, greener, mind you, but that's how it looked. Very strange. Very cool. Unlike getting ambushed by griffins, it was very cool. Very strange, though. Also, unlike being ambushed by griffins, that's very expected in mesas and other arid or semi-arid environments in a fantasy setting. You know, I've never seen, like... So griffins are kind of like an eagle. Yeah, I've never seen a vulture griffin. I think that's something a little underexplored. Like a kind of griffin that's a different kind of bird. I don't know, something about that statue made me laugh. Just... I don't know. Like, why? Why would you just randomly build a big bird statue right here? Welcome to the bird zone! Don't you appreciate it? The birds. The big, wonderful birds. Again, really good cacti, like, arid vegetation models. It can be difficult to make an interesting desert, or like just generally arid environment, but they're not like empty, you know. Most deserts still have something in them, because life is just stubborn like that. Oh, here we go, by the way. Oh, that might be the big T-Rex I was thinking of. I don't know why it's here, though. Yeah, wow. That's him, the Corvin Titanivore. I don't know what he's doing here, though. And he just runs off. The squirrely jerk. There he is with his stupid doom stomp.
That skill's not ready.
Yeah, I remember this idiot. I love him to bits. I don't know why he's here. I thought he was like I said, a nemesis boss or whatever. Holy crap, he's also dangerous. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, I even got an achievement called the Corvin Rex for killing him. Ancient Heart. Yeah, I better get an Ancient Heart from him. Stupid butthole. Empowered Plaguemancer's Amulet. Well, I mean, if it was in that thing's belly, it can't be that good. Like, if the recipe for it, I mean, was in that thing's guts, it can't have helped its previous owner. You know, if you think about it, that's kind of like a very... It's very antithetical to find gear in a creature and be like, wow, that's great gear. Like, in any instance of gear being found in a creature after you kill it, like, do you really want it? Because clearly the gear that you have didn't end up in something else's guts, right? And if it didn't work all that well for that guy, why would it... You know? Oh right, that skill, like, causes you to take more damage, doesn't it? Yeah, increase armor by negative 16%. How about I just unequip that? Yeah, there we go. You know, matter of fact, I might actually just take that back. I think I'm gonna go do that right now. I'm gonna take that point back. I don't need to finish out the bear for anything. Ah, crap, I've got to go to the Witch's Coven, don't I? Right. Where's that at? Oh. Yeah, this guy. I hope they put him in the Astrakarn DLC. Again, assuming that he's not actually in the... I mean, he might be. I don't really remember. Where was the lady who changes your... Yeah, up here. Alright, cool.
I sense turmoil within you.
Yeah, sure, whatever, ma'am. Yeah, we're taking that back.
Farewell.
Bear stole our star point. What was the other thing that I was considering? I think it was, this, right? Yes, it was this. Even more elemental resistance? That's a little goofy. Oh, okay, so it goes around clockwise. Yeah, we'll get this first. Just because I think Elemental Storm is more relevant. Like, immediately relevant. Because I would like to have an extra, like, ability on my stuff. Okay, so the next devotion point is at the Karen docks. I'm going to go ahead and cut recording here.